Here are Grandma's 50 oddly useful food hacks that actually work. Tenderize meat with vinegar. Tenderizing meat with vinegar is a classic food hack by Grandma that just works every time. The vinegar's acidity breaks down tough meat fibers, tenderizing it and enhancing flavor absorption. Start by placing your meat in a shallow dish and pour a thin layer of vinegar over it, about 1 to 2 tablespoons per pound. Let it sit for 30 minutes, then rinse and pat dry before cooking. Vinegar's acidic properties soften the meat, making each bite more tender. Cook green veggies uncovered. Did you know that you can keep your green veggies vibrant by cooking them uncovered? Bring a pot of salted water to a boil. Add vegetables like broccoli or green beans and cook without a lid for 3 to 5 minutes. Leaving the pot uncovered allows volatile acids to escape, keeping the greens bright. Drain quickly and serve or rinse in cold water to preserve color and nutrients. Thicken sauces with pasta water. Pasta water is a simple way to thicken sauces thanks to its starch content. Once pasta is nearly done, ladle out 1/2 cup of the cooking water. Add this starchy water gradually to your sauce, stirring until it reaches your desired thickness. The starch binds the sauce ingredients together, creating a smooth, velvety consistency that enhances the dish's flavor. Use banana and egg for whipped cream. Create a dairy-free whipped cream substitute with just banana and egg. Begin by mashing 1 ripe banana until smooth, then beat in 1 egg white until the mixture is fluffy and light. The natural sugars in banana add sweetness, while egg whites provide volume. This creamy, airy topping works well for pancakes, waffles, or any dessert needing a light touch. Add salt to coffee to reduce bitterness. Adding a pinch of salt to coffee can reduce bitterness and balance flavors. Prepare your coffee as usual, then add a tiny pinch of salt, just a few grains, before drinking. According to Grandma, salt masks bitter compounds and enhances the coffee's natural sweetness, creating a smoother taste. It's especially effective with darker roast or strong brews, making each sip more enjoyable. Grate cold butter into flour for biscuits. For flaky biscuits, grate cold butter directly into flour. Start by chilling a stick of butter until firm, then use a cheese grater to shred it into your flour mixture. Toss gently to coat each piece with flour and mix minimally to keep the butter in tiny bits. This technique keeps the butter cold, resulting in steam pockets while baking, giving you perfectly flaky layers. Sour milk substitute with vinegar. To create a sour milk substitute for recipes, combine 1 tablespoon of vinegar with 1 cup of milk. Let the mixture sit for 5 minutes until it thickens and slightly curdles. This works because the acid in the vinegar interacts with the milk proteins, mimicking buttermilk's tangy effect, making it perfect for baking recipes that require a mild acidity. Use chocolate as a gingerbread darkener. Enhance gingerbread color by adding chocolate. Melt a small piece of dark chocolate, about 1 to 2 tablespoons, and mix it into the gingerbread batter. The chocolate deepens the color without overwhelming the ginger flavor. Its slight bitterness also balances the spices, adding richness and visual appeal for a perfect holiday gingerbread appearance. Dust cakes with flour before frosting. Dust cakes with a thin layer of flour before applying frosting to prevent sliding. After baking and cooling, lightly sift a bit of flour over the cake's surface and gently brush off the excess. This thin coating helps frosting adhere better, especially on delicate or crumbly cakes, ensuring a clean, smooth finish without crumbs in the frosting. Soften hard brown sugar with an apple slice. Did you know that you can revive hardened brown sugar by placing it in an airtight container with an apple slice? Let it sit overnight, allowing the moisture from the apple to gradually soften the sugar. This method works because the sugar absorbs moisture from the apple slice, breaking down hard clumps and restoring its softness. Remove the apple afterward to keep the sugar fresh. Wrap dry cake in damp cheesecloth. To revive a dry cake, Wrap it in damp cheesecloth. Start by lightly wetting a cheesecloth, wringing out excess water to keep it just damp. Wrap the cake in the cloth and seal it in an airtight container, letting it sit overnight. The cloth's moisture is absorbed into the cake, restoring softness and flavor without adding any extra sweetness. Add oil to pasta water to avoid boil over. Keep pasta water from boiling over by adding a teaspoon of oil to the pot. Fill the pot, salt the water, and add oil before bringing it to a boil. Once you add the pasta, the oil spreads across the surface, reducing froth buildup and keeping the water contained. Warm knife to slice cold cheese. Make slicing cold cheese easier by warming the knife beforehand. Run the knife blade under hot water, then wipe it dry. The warm blade will glide through cheese without crumbling, giving you clean, even slices. This tip works especially well with soft or semi-hard cheeses, perfect for cheese boards or sandwiches, and prevents messiness. Add cinnamon to coffee grounds. Add warmth and spice to your coffee by mixing cinnamon directly into the coffee grounds before brewing. Sprinkle half a teaspoon of cinnamon evenly over the grounds, then brew as usual. The hot water draws out the cinnamon's natural oils, adding an aromatic depth and hint of sweetness, creating a flavorful morning cup without any added sugar. Flour bacon before cooking. For crispier, evenly browned bacon, lightly coat each strip with flour before frying. Lay bacon on a plate with a dusting of flour, and coat each slice on both sides. Fry in a skillet as usual. The flour absorbs excess grease, helping the bacon cook more evenly and reducing splatters, making for an easier, cleaner cooking experience. Keep cookies soft with a bread slice. To keep cookies soft, place a slice of bread in the container with them. Start by baking and cooling your cookies, then layer them in an airtight container. Place a fresh bread slice on top and seal the lid tightly. The bread releases moisture, which the cookies absorb, preventing them from drying out. Change the bread every 2 days to maintain freshness. Add peanut butter to muffin pans before batter. For extra flavor, add a teaspoon of peanut butter to each muffin cup before adding the batter. Grease your muffin pan lightly. Drop a small dollop of peanut butter into each cup and then pour your batter on top. As the muffins bake, the peanut butter melts and blends, creating a rich, nutty swirl in each bite. Perfect for a unique flavor twist. Rub butter on sweet potatoes to retain moisture. Keep sweet potatoes moist by rubbing butter over their skins before baking. Wash and dry the potatoes, then rub softened butter evenly over the surface. Wrap each potato in foil and bake as usual. The butter acts as a seal, locking in moisture during baking and resulting in soft, tender flesh. Use tissue paper to keep cookies fresh. To extend cookie freshness, line the container with tissue paper. After baking and cooling, place a layer of tissue paper in an airtight container, then add the cookies. The tissue absorbs any excess moisture that could make cookies stale. Layer tissue between cookies if you're stacking them. This helps maintain texture and flavor, so every bite is as delicious as the first. Salt citrus peels to intensify flavor. Did you know that you can boost the flavor of citrus peels by salting them? Peel the fruit, place the peels in a bowl, and sprinkle with coarse salt. Let them sit for 15 minutes, then rinse and pat dry. Salting draws out the oils, enhancing the zest's natural flavor. Use the intensified peels to add a vibrant, tangy taste to recipes, from desserts to savory dishes. Add sugar to marinades for caramelization. For a delicious caramelized finish, add a teaspoon of sugar to your marinades. Start by mixing sugar into your marinade, which could include soy sauce, oil, garlic, and other spices. Marinate your meat or veggies for at least 30 minutes, allowing the sugar to blend and coat evenly. As you cook, the sugar caramelizes, creating a beautiful golden crust with enhanced flavor. Use lemon juice to slow avocado browning. Did you know that you can keep your avocado from browning by adding a squeeze of lemon juice? After cutting, Sprinkle fresh lemon juice over the exposed flesh. The acid in the lemon juice slows oxidation, helping the avocado retain its color longer. Store any leftover avocado with the pit in an airtight container, keeping it fresh for up to a day. This method works well for guacamole too. Add vinegar to cabbage to reduce smell. Minimize cabbage's strong cooking odor by adding a splash of vinegar. Start by chopping your cabbage and adding it to a pot of boiling water. Pour in 1 tablespoon of vinegar, which neutralizes the sulfur compounds that cause the smell. Simmer as usual, and you'll notice a much milder aroma filling your kitchen. Vinegar also helps preserve cabbage's color, keeping it vibrant on the plate. Taste while cooking, adjust as needed. To achieve balanced flavors, Grandma would always taste the food as it cooks. To do this, use a clean spoon each time to sample, checking for salt, acid, or sweetness. Adjust by adding small amounts of seasonings gradually, stirring well after each addition. This method allows you to control the flavor without risking over-seasoning, ensuring a perfectly balanced dish every time. Add baking soda to tomato soup. Reduce acidity in tomato soup by adding a pinch of baking soda. Prepare your soup as usual, then stir in 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda for every cup of soup. The baking soda reacts with the acidic tomato, creating a smoother, less tangy flavor. Taste the soup and add a bit more if needed, but avoid overdoing it, as too much may affect the flavor. Prevent skillet sticking with salt. To keep food from sticking, sprinkle salt in your skillet before cooking. Begin by heating your skillet on medium and sprinkle an even layer of salt across the bottom. Let the salt heat for about a minute, then add oil or butter and remove excess salt if needed. The salt absorbs moisture and creates a light barrier, helping prevent sticking when you start cooking. Freeze tomato paste in ice cube trays. Save leftover tomato paste by freezing it in small portions. Spoon tomato paste into an ice cube tray, filling each compartment, and smooth the tops. Place the tray in the freezer until the paste is solid, then pop out the cubes and transfer them to a sealed bag or a container. This way, you can grab a single cube anytime you need a small amount of tomato paste for recipes. Marinate meat with pickle brine. Repurpose leftover pickle brine as a quick and flavorful meat marinade. Place your meat, such as chicken or pork, in a container and pour enough brine to cover it. Marinate for 30 minutes to 1 hour, allowing the acidic brine to tenderize and season the meat. The tangy flavor of the brine adds depth to the meat, resulting in a juicy, flavorful dish with minimal extra seasoning. Toast rice before boiling for flavor. Enhance the nutty flavor of rice by toasting it before boiling. Pour rice into a dry pan and heat it over medium, stirring until it turns lightly golden and fragrant. Transfer the toasted rice to a pot, add water or broth, and cook as usual. Toasting the rice first deepens its flavor, bringing a warm, aromatic quality to each bite. Perfect for pilafs and side dishes. Use vinegar in boiling water for egg peeling. Make boiled eggs easier to peel by adding vinegar to the water. Begin by filling a pot with water and adding 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Bring it to a boil, then gently lower in the eggs. The vinegar helps break down the eggshell's proteins, making it less likely to stick. After boiling, transfer eggs to an ice bath for a few minutes before peeling to keep them smooth and intact. Soak fish in milk to remove odor. Did you know that you can remove fishy odors by soaking fish fillets in milk before cooking? Pour enough milk to fully submerge the fish in a shallow dish and let it soak for 15 to 20 minutes. The proteins in milk bind with compounds responsible for the odor, neutralizing it effectively. After soaking, rinse the fillets briefly in cold water and pat dry before cooking for a fresher, milder taste. Heat cinnamon to remove odors. Clear unwanted odors from your kitchen by heating cinnamon on the stove. Place a few cinnamon sticks in a small pot, cover them with water, and bring it to a simmer over low heat. The warm, natural aroma of cinnamon will circulate, masking any lingering smells. Add a dash of vanilla or cloves for an even cozier scent that lingers pleasantly throughout your home. Add lemon to rice for color. Brighten plain rice by adding a splash of lemon juice as it cooks. Start by bringing water to a boil, then add rice along with 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. The acid in the lemon prevents the rice from turning dull, giving it a bright, appetizing color. The citrusy hint from the lemon also adds a subtle flavor, making your rice visually and tastefully vibrant. Balance tomato sauce acidity with sugar. Cut the acidity in tomato sauce by adding a pinch of sugar while it simmers. Prepare your tomato sauce as usual, and taste a small spoonful to gauge the acidity. Stir in 1 teaspoon of sugar and let it cook for a few more minutes. The sweetness balances the acidic tomatoes, enhancing the sauce's flavor without overwhelming it, leaving it rich and well-rounded. Use mayo for crispy grilled cheese. For a perfectly crispy grilled cheese, spread mayonnaise on the outside of the bread before grilling. Heat a skillet over medium heat, then spread a thin layer of mayo on each bread slice. Assemble your sandwich. Place it mayo side down in the pan and cook until golden. The mayo browns beautifully, creating a crisp crust that's more consistent than butter, resulting in a satisfyingly crunchy bite. Thicken soup with oatmeal. To give your soup a thicker, heartier texture, stir in a small handful of oatmeal. Start by adding 1 tablespoon of oats at a time to the pot, allowing them to cook for about 10 minutes. The oatmeal absorbs liquid as it softens, gradually thickening the soup without altering its flavor. Soak unpopped popcorn to reuse. Give leftover unpopped kernels a second chance by soaking them. Place the kernels in a bowl, cover them with water, and let them sit for about 12 hours. This rehydrates the kernels, improving their popping potential when you cook them again. Drain and pat them dry before popping as usual. With this trick, you'll get more fluffy, popped kernels instead of hard duds. Heat lemons in hot water for more juice. Maximize juice from lemons by soaking them in hot water for 5 minutes before squeezing. The heat softens the lemon's inner fibers, allowing juice to flow out more easily. After soaking, roll the lemon on the counter with gentle pressure, then slice and squeeze. This method yields up to 30% more juice, perfect for recipes needing that fresh lemony zest. Add a potato to fix burnt soup. To save slightly burnt soup, Grandma would add a peeled raw potato and simmer it for about 15 to 20 minutes. The potato absorbs some of the burnt flavor, helping to salvage the rest of the soup. After simmering, remove the potato before serving. This trick can reduce the bitterness from a burned bottom, giving you a more palatable soup without starting over. Test pan heat with water sizzle. Check if a pan is hot enough for cooking by sprinkling a few drops of water onto its surface. If the water sizzles and evaporates instantly, the pan is ready. This simple test helps prevent food from sticking due to insufficient heat, ensuring an ideal cooking temperature for better searing and sautéing. Soak potatoes in salty cold water before peeling. For easier peeling and enhanced flavor, soak potatoes in a bowl of salty cold water for 15 to 20 minutes before peeling. This step firms up the potato skins, making them simpler to remove, while the salt lightly seasons the potatoes from within. After soaking, peel them easily and proceed with your recipe. Add sugar to balance dressings. When making a vinaigrette or salad dressing, add a pinch of sugar to balance acidity. Start by whisking together your ingredients: vinegar, oil, salt, and pepper. Then add 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, stirring to dissolve. Taste and adjust if needed. The sugar mellows sharp vinegar notes, adding a subtle sweetness to your dressing. Boil sausages to prevent shrinking. To keep sausages juicy and prevent them from shrinking, start by placing them in a pan of cold water and bringing it to a gentle boil. Let them simmer for about 5 minutes, then drain and finish cooking by grilling or frying. Pre-boiling keeps sausages plump and prevents them from drying out. Add lemon to cauliflower to keep white. To maintain cauliflower's bright white color during cooking, add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice to the boiling water. Begin by cutting cauliflower into florets. Then place them in boiling water with a tablespoon of lemon juice. The acidity from the lemon halts enzymatic browning, preserving the cauliflower's vibrant color. Soak onions before cutting. Did you know that you can reduce eye irritation by soaking onions in cold water before chopping? Peel the onions, cut them in half, and place them in a bowl of cold water for 10 minutes. The water draws out some of the sulfur compounds that cause eye stinging, making it gentler on your eyes when you slice. After soaking, dry and chop as usual with less discomfort. Save rice water for gravy. After cooking rice, save the starchy leftover water to enrich your gravy. Pour the cooled rice water into a container and refrigerate until needed. When preparing gravy, use it as a substitute for plain water or stock. The natural starches in rice water thicken and add a subtle flavor, making your gravy smoother and richer without the need for extra flour or cornstarch. Soak potatoes in salt water for easy peeling. For easier peeling, soak potatoes in a bowl of cold, salted water for 20 minutes before handling. The salt draws moisture to the surface of the skins, loosening them slightly and making peeling a breeze. Drain and pat the potatoes dry before peeling with a knife or peeler. Add sugar to boiling water to keep greens vibrant. To keep leafy greens bright during cooking, add a teaspoon of sugar to boiling water. Bring a pot of water to a rolling boil. Add the sugar, then drop in your greens and cook until tender. The sugar acts as a color stabilizer, maintaining the natural chlorophyll in the leaves. Soak beans with baking soda to reduce gas. For gentler digestion, add a teaspoon of baking soda to beans soaking overnight. Cover beans with water and stir in the baking soda before letting them soak for 8 to 12 hours. The baking soda breaks down some of the indigestible sugars responsible for gas, making beans easier on the stomach. Rinse beans thoroughly before cooking to remove any residual baking soda flavor, then cook as desired. Salt herbs while chopping. Enhance herb flavor by sprinkling a pinch of salt as you chop. Spread your herbs on a cutting board. Lightly sprinkle with salt and chop finely. The salt draws out moisture, intensifying the herb's natural oils and enhancing their fragrance. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.